Do you feel like you're fighting yourself a lot with your anxiety, fighting your feelings, fighting your thoughts, just fighting parts of yourself all the time? If this is you, this is definitely a video to watch. As a therapist, this is something that I hear very often when I first meet clients to work with their anxiousness or panic. It's a phrase that most sufferers identify with, some variation of, I feel like I'm fighting myself, fighting with my anxiety, fighting my feelings. And honestly, life will feel really hard fighting things all the time. But today we're going to talk a bit about some understanding around what this fighting is actually about. And when you understand some crucial information about it, you realize that there isn't actually anything to fight. And a lot of your energy can be spent doing something else, which is more worth your time. So what the heck am I talking about? So let's assume there's a voice that gets imposed on you at some point, and that voice may suggest or say something like, you must be a good person at all costs. That's just a random example. There's a million of them. There'll be another one that resonates with you. So I'll just use this as an example for this video. Being a good person all the time might initially sound positive, might be a positive value. People might think there's nothing wrong with that. But over time, the voices or opinions that are imposed on us, we can become tired of these. And perhaps a lot of the time, they're not actually realistic in the first place, but we rarely notice that or know that at the time. So we all naturally will grow tired of always trying to be a specific way. But when we're in that state, trying to pursue and achieve this imposed value or voice, we start learning things like, okay, negative emotions are not okay. I must always get things right. You become obsessed with doing and saying all the right things. So what happens now is that any emotion or experience that gets in the way or contradicts that, we fight it. We push it off because there's a side of us that feels a reward and attachment to fighting for that imposed voice or value of being that good person. So the reward might be approval, it might be a promised happiness or a sense of survival, or it may be anything that's specific to you. Those are some very general ones. But we get the promise or the emotional attachment or reward of getting something by doing that. But the problem that you're currently in, if fighting with a part of yourself is something that you identify with, the problem you're currently having is now the reward no longer supersedes your current suffering right now. Your suffering is taking over or is more intense than this perceived reward. And that's the battle going back and forth. That's how you experience it. So really right now, what we can realize is the problem at the very beginning is not actually you. It's something that was imposed on you and a reward for meeting or obeying that. And right now, perhaps for some time, you've been continuing to give that power. And this may seem super simple to hear and understand, but the breakthrough or breakthroughs that I see that happen realizing this cannot be understated, because realizing this means that the problem is not with a part of you that you're fighting. It's something was imposed on you. Now, what that something is specific to you. There may be more than one, but you are currently in a place where the reward is no longer enough. It's actually causing you suffering to be constantly pursuing and chasing whatever it is, this thing that you're fighting against, the thing that you think you shouldn't be experiencing, the other thing you should be, and this sort of, I don't want to feel this way or be that way, I want to be this way, and that pull that you feel, there's an element of suffering in that. The reward is no longer what it used to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel that contradiction within yourself. There is no problem. So what is perceived to be the problem with this fight of yourself is that you're taking this personally. This feels personal. This feels you, that you're fighting with yourself. But you're actually fighting something that has been imposed on you. It did not come from you. It came from someone else or somewhere else, some other experience, some other meaning that you took from an experience. There's this emotional attachment and this power given to this thing. But when you dismantle it and all the assumptions and the beliefs and what is perceived to be the problem, for example, through the work that I do to accelerate this, you can certainly do this on your own, but it's quite tedious and cognitive and can take quite some time if you're doing it on your own. So if you want to speed up this process, there's a link down below to book a free consultation to see if it is something that I can help you with. But regardless of that, the problem, the fighting yourself with yourself, that isn't the problem. You're fighting something that's been imposed on you that did not originally come from you. And your job is to be super truthful on what that is. And you'll find that answer in the present moment, not by spending years and years searching through, a whole Rolodex cabinet of all your experiences. So when you dismantle that, all these assumptions, the beliefs, whatever's been imposed on you, and you get to choose for yourself what you would rather move toward, what is more realistic, what is really you, then this problem can no longer exist. It just can't exist anymore by going right down to the foundations of where it started. This seems very simple, but if you take action and learn from this, this has all the potential to be the breakthrough that you need. And if you want some help speeding up that process, you can click the link below. But as always, leave a comment down below if this was helpful for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.